The wisdom of the animated movies is evident when Master Oogway of the Kung Fu Panda says, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift." That is why they call it present. We live every day in hope of a better tomorrow, and in doing so, we lose the opportunity to live in what is better today. So we are left with pain as a memory of our past. This, in many ways, shows us that we create our own suffering in this realm by not allowing ourselves, without giving ourselves the chance to feel the happiness present in every moment. We move past each situation so quickly, we do not give due consideration to the little things in our lives. We always expect things to change when and in the way we want it, and then become deeply disappointed when things don't go our way. We also tend to dwell so much on what has passed, as though just thinking about it will change what has happened. In his song, "Don't Fall Apart on Me Tonight," Bob Dylan sings, "Yesterday is just a memory, and tomorrow is never what it's supposed to be." This constant absence from the present moment leads us to underrate the moments which make our lives. I would like to share a story I found about how significant even little things are. It goes, "One day I was walking home after school when I saw a kid from my freshman class walking on the street ahead of me. He was carrying what looked like all his books. I thought, whoa, why would anyone bring home all their books on Friday? That guy must be a real nerd." I had quite a weekend planned, parties and a football game, so I shrugged my shoulders and went on my way. Suddenly I saw a group of kids running towards him. They rammed into him, knocking his books out of his hands and tripping him. His glasses went flying and landed in the grass a few feet away from him. He looked up and I saw this overwhelming grief in his eyes. I felt so bad for him. I jogged over immediately as he fumbled around on his knees, searching for his glasses. As I handed them to him, I saw a tear in his eye. So I said, "Those guys are real jerks. They should seriously get lives." He put his glasses on, looked at me and said, "Hey, thanks." There was this big smile on his face, one which showed real gratitude. I helped him pick up his books and asked him where he lived. It turned out he lived close to my place. So I asked him why I had never seen him before. He told me that he used to go to a private school, which explained it, as I never hung out with private school kids before. We talked all the way home and I helped him carry his books. He turned out to be a pretty cool guy. I invited him to play football with my friends and I over the weekend, and he agreed. The more I hung out with him, the more I liked him, and my friends thought the same. On Monday, I saw Kyle with the big pile of books again, and I jokingly told him that he was going to build some serious muscle with hauling all those books all over the place. He laughed. Over the next 4 years, we became best friends. When we were seniors, we began thinking of college. He was going to Georgetown to become a doctor, and I was going to Duke to do business on a football scholarship. Though we were going in separate ways, I knew we would always be friends. Kyle became valedictorian of our class. I teased him all the time about being a nerd, and he had to prepare a speech for graduation. Kyle had filled out over the years and actually looked good in glasses. On graduation day, he looked like a guy who had really found himself during high school. I could see he was nervous about his speech, so I gave him a smack on the back and said, "Hey big guy, you'll be great." He looked at me with a grateful smile and said thanks. He cleared his throat and began. Graduation is a time to thank those who helped you make it through those years. Your parents, your teachers, your siblings, maybe a coach, but mostly your friends. I'm here to tell you a story of how being a friend to someone is the best gift you can give a person. I just stared in disbelief as he told the story of the day we first met. He had planned to kill himself over the weekend, and he had cleaned out his locker so that his mom wouldn't have to do it afterwards, and was carrying home his stuff. He looked hard at me and gave me a smile and said, "Thankfully, I was saved. My friend saved me from doing the unthinkable." There were gasps of shock as the crowd heard this popular guy speak of his weakest moment. I saw his parents looking at me with that same grateful smile. Until this moment, I hadn't realized its depth. Never underestimate the power of your actions. With a single small gesture, you can change a person's life. This was a profoundly moving story, which I thought explains how significant a single act of kindness, no matter how understated it may be, that it can have a life-altering impact on another. This also exemplifies the power of friendship. It shows us that it is those little moments, the small actions, that shape our destiny. And these happen all the time. So we are constantly making and remaking our destiny. It also shows us something that I take great comfort in personally, that there is no force in our life that we have no control over, that we always have the choice. We do the steering. As Ella Wheeler Wilcox explains in her poem Winds of Fate, one ship drives east and another drives west, with the self-same winds that blow. 'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales which tells us the way to go. Like the winds of the sea are the ways of fate as we voyage along through life. 'Tis the set of the soul that decides its goal, and not the calm or the strife. I found this poem extremely motivational, as it completely depicts the significance of the choice we have in deciding where we end up. How, despite whether the times are good or bad, whether the winds blow strong or the air is still, we have a choice. We can choose where to go, which path to take. A quote I found very inspirational, which portrays the strength of the human spirit, by Viktor E. Frankl, goes, "We who lived in the concentration camps can remember those who walked through the huts, comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from us but the last of human freedoms, the freedom to choose our spirit in any circumstance." This truly embodies the strength of the human heart, that even when surrounded by such an extremity of suffering, the human heart has the strength to be compassionate and generous. It also shows us that even though we may